Alrighty, Chef Buck here, and today Camera Girl is cooking up a spaghetti squash. And I love this dish. Every time she makes it, however she makes it, it just tastes fantastic. I never had a spaghetti squash until she introduced me to this stuff. It's kind of a hard, melony looking thing. It's pretty heavy. It's heavier than it looks, and it's a pain in the butt to cut. So make sure you have a sharp knife and be careful. I had to do some tricky-dicky editing here because she almost cut off her thumbs while she was doing this. So exercise caution. And look inside here. It looks like a pumpkin inside with these big old seeds. And we're going to get rid of those seeds, but not until after we cook it, because it's going to be easier to scoop out after it's roasted for a little bit. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to take a shallow pan, cover the bottom with a little bit of water, turn the squash, cut side down, slide it in the oven at 350 degrees, and we're going to let it roast away for about 45 minutes. Now, when these squash halves come out of the oven, they're going to be hotter than hell. So the first thing you're going to want to do is set them aside for about 10 minutes, so that they become less lethal to handle. But you don't want them to cool down completely, just enough to where you can manipulate them. See, she's giving them a test there. They kind of look like ass cheeks that have been separated at birth. And she can pick one up, but only for about a millisecond. So she's going to put a towel under there to hold it while she scoops out these guts, and see how easily these seeds are going to come out now. So you don't want to do this, before you cook it, because it's going to be a lot easier afterwards. And you can dry these seeds, just like pumpkin seeds if you want to, but we're kind of a little bit too lazy for that today. Now she's going to take a fork and scoop out the flesh of this squash. And see how it comes out of here in these strings and strands, sort of like pasta. And that's how it gets the name spaghetti squash, I love the texture of this stuff because it doesn't get all soft and mushy, like yellow squash does. And see how beautiful this stuff looks? That's pretty attractive for squash. And there's a whole heap of it, and this is just from one half of the squash. So, you can make a pretty hearty dish with this. So what she's going to do is she's going to do exactly the same thing to the other half and wind up with this big heaping plate of this spaghetti squash, pasta looking squash. But it's not pasta. It's low in calories and high in nutrition and makes a nice change of pace on your plate. Now we're going to heat up a little bit of olive oil in a skillet on medium-high heat. We're going to throw in one whole chopped onion and about 4 or 5 or 6 cloves of garlic, and you can add more garlic if you like, because the squash really goes well with the onion and garlic. Adds a nice flavor punch. But we're going to go ahead and let these onions cook down a little bit, give them a little bit of a head start before we throw in some sliced red pepper, because we don't want the red pepper to be too overdone, because that's going to add a nice little crunch, a nice little color. So mix these ingredients up, salt it up a little bit, reduce the heat to low. Then we'll go ahead and cover this up and let it simmer away for about 4 or 5 minutes. And now we're ready to slide in our big heaping plate of spaghetti squash. This makes such a hearty dish. You could serve this as your main entree, or if you wanted to right now, you could just stop right now. Throw a little bit of salt and pepper on here, and it'd be a great side dish. But we're going to jazz it up, give it a little bit of a Mediterranean edge. We're going to throw in some artichoke hearts, canned in water. We've chopped them up so that we can stir them in, get them spread throughout the dish. And then we're going to Mediterranean it up even a little more by throwing in some chopped olives. Now we're just using green olives because that's what we had on hand. But if you want, you can use some black olives. You could throw them in there with the pimentos, whatever the heck you like. But this little bit of artichoke and this little bit of olive is really going to flare this dish up. Now we're going to throw in our dry spices, a little bit of oregano, some thyme, some basil. We're going to throw some Parmesan cheese on there. I like to use the shredded Parmesan, but she likes the grated, so that's what we're going with tonight. And if you wanted to, you could throw a little bit of feta cheese in there and Mediterranean it up even more. But go ahead and get this stuff mixed up. It's on low heat. And we're going to go ahead and cover it up and let it sit for about 7 to 10 minutes. Get these ingredients heated through. We're going to throw in a splash of the olive juice, kind of give it a little more bit of a flavor there. Going to put a little bit of fresh ground pepper on here to taste. And then that's pretty much it. Give it a taste. If you want to salt it up a little more, go ahead and do that. It'd make a great side dish for some broiled chicken or fish. But we're just going to go ahead and eat it up as an entree. We're going to serve it with a little bit of toasted bread. You could garlic the bread up if you like. It's a super dish, a super versatile ingredient, so give it a try. and let me know what you think, and bon appetit.